Yo, what's going on, boys? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Grandmaster Rifles and the build that I've been using to just get through them super easily. This week is an amazing week to be farming. There's a new weapon, there's double loot drops. If you're not in the GMs farming this week, you're going to be missing out. So because of that, today's build is all about beating the GM and just destroying champions. This is like my champion destroyer build. If you hate champions, if those champions keep standing in the way of your loot, this is the build that you want to use. So hopefully you guys enjoy it, but let's not waste any more time, let's get into it. And first, let's talk about some of the things that we're gonna need. So the main three things that you're gonna need for this build is a Steel Hunt, a Celestial Nighthawk, and also to have your Prismatic fragments unlocked, all of them. Or at least the ones that we're gonna be using here, but hopefully you have all of them by now. So just by mentioning the Steel Hunt and the Celestial, I'm sure you guys kind of get a general idea of what we're going to be doing with this. So the goal of this build is pretty much going to be able to destroy any champion we see with a Steel Hunt or with a Golden Gun. Which is perfect for the GM this week because there's so many champions in the Glassway GM that you definitely want to have something like this so you can just keep melting champions. And if you're watching this video a little later when it's no longer the Glassway Nightfall, well, you can still use the build. You're just going to have to switch a couple of weapons around since the champions might have changed for the other Nightfall. And that pretty much leads us perfectly into the weapons that we're using with this build. So let's take a look at them. So let's start off with the main weapon. The weapon that's the most important for this build is the Steel Hunt. You know the Steel Hunt, so I'm not going to spend much time on it. It stacks up with the Golden Gun to do some ridiculous damage. And this is going to be like the main way that we're going to be able to take out those champions. So if we have our Golden Gun, we use our Golden Gun. But if we don't have it, we're always going to be using the Steel Hunt. And it's fairly easy to build up a super with the Sniper. A couple of precision hits will get it. And also all the orbs that you are making, as well as your teammates, is also going to help charge up your Sniper. So you actually have it up really often. You're definitely going to have to play a little bit farther back and a little bit safer because it is a Sniper. But I think it's worth it just because of the sheer amount of damage it does. Not only on champions, but any like mini boss or anything that you don't want to deal with, you can just shoot it with the Steel Hunt and it'll die, it will get chunked pretty badly. Now for the other weapons, I would definitely recommend that you go with a machine gun. It doesn't have to be this one that I'm showing you right here, but I would highly recommend that you go with a solar machine gun. Not only because it's solar surge this week, but also because the Steel Hunt is also a solar weapon. So if you put on a solar scavenger, it's going to be affecting both your machine gun and your Steel Hunt, and you're just going to have a lot more ammo that way. So definitely recommend a solar machine gun, but it doesn't really have to be. But the reason that we mostly are using the machine gun is because the Steel Hunt just sucks at clearing ads. It's a sniper, so we want a weapon that's very good at clearing ads and that's also very effective. So that's what the machine gun is there for, mostly for ad clear, but we can also use it on bigger enemies if we need to. It is still pretty good at taking out some bigger enemies, so it can do both. And then for our other weapon, we have a hand cannon, used to kind of have a consistent way of stunning those overloads, and that's pretty much the only reason why we have a hand cannon. If you're watching this later and it's a different Nightfall with different champions, then you don't really need the hand cannon. This is the one spot that you could pretty much replace with whatever you need. A sidearm, an SMG, whatever champion mod you need, you put it in the kinetic slot. Alright, so now let's take a look at how we have our subclass set up. First of all, for the super, we have the Golden Gun. We kind of need it. If not, the Celestial doesn't really do anything. I guess it would still help our Sniper. But, you definitely want to be on the Golden Gun. There's no doubt about it. Now for our melee and our grenade, we're going to go with the Stasis ones. So the Withering Blade and the Dustfield Grenade. Stasis stuff and slows and freezes are just so good in PvE. Especially for some of the higher end content. This is going to be amazing. Especially the Dustfield for the end of this GM is going to be amazing for stopping the Wyverns, the Overloads. Pretty much anything that can be slowed and frozen. The Dustfield is going to be amazing for that. Now for the fragments we're running, we got Winter Shroud and Stylish Executioner. These both are to kind of keep us safe. Winter Shroud is just so you can slow anything that's near you, and if an overload happens to rush you, you can just quickly hit your dodge and not only get away from him, but also stun him. So Winter Shroud can definitely come in clutch at times. And then on top of that, we have Stylish Executioner making us invisible every time we kill an enemy that's affected by a debuff. Like Slow, which is, what all our abilities are going to be doing. All our abilities are going to be slowing. So we're going to be going invisible quite a bit. Our LMG also has Scorch, which is another way that we're going to be going invisible. So we have a lot of different things that can help us go invisible. So if we want invisibility, we're going to be able to get it. Now for the fragments, we have Hope. Whenever we have an elemental debuff, our class ability regenerates faster. So just so we can get our class ability more often. Next though, we have Faceted Protection. Whenever we're surrounded by combatants, we get some more damage resistance. This is just to help us stay alive when there's a lot of enemies around. Next though, we have Courage. Our Arc, Solar, and Void abilities deal increased damage to targets afflicted with darkness debuffs. This fragment right here is also another reason why we have a Stasis, Melee, and Grenade, because it's gonna help our Golden Gun do even more damage. So every time you pop your Golden Gun, just make sure that you hit the enemy you're gonna Golden Gun with either a Grenade or a Melee. It's probably gonna be with a Melee, because those tend to be up a lot more often. Next though, we have Faceted Dawn. Whenever we hit something with our Melee, we become Radiant. This paired up with the last fragment basically is gonna give us a supercharged Golden Gun. You're gonna be doing more damage because you have Radiant with your Golden Gun. You're gonna get 25% more damage on your Golden Gun. And also the enemy you hit is gonna take more damage, which leads to you pretty much just one-shotting the champion with the Golden Gun without needing anything else. It's pretty amazing and it's super satisfying. You can actually proc both of these with just one Withering Blade. So if you throw your melee ability like a champion that's full health, then pop your Golden Gun, there's a very good chance that you're just gonna one-shot them. It is amazing. It makes your Golden Gun super good. And the last thing that we have is Faceted Purpose. Whenever we pick up an orb, it will give us Restoration. And that one just kind of adds to our survivability a little more. Whenever we pick up an orb, we're just going to start that health regen. So that's how we have our subclass set up. It's mostly about empowering our Golden Gun, debuffing enemies, and staying alive. Since that's the main thing that we want to do in a GM. So that's pretty much what we have going here. We're going for some survivability, while still being able to debuff targets to make them easier to one-shot. And actually, speaking of those one-shots, I guess we should talk about the main star of the show, the thing that makes this whole thing possible, our exotic piece, the Celestial Nighthawk. And something that you gotta remember about the Celestial is that it does have some other effects, besides they just turning your Goldie into a one-shot deleting machine. Whenever you hit some precision final blows, it gives you a bit of extra super energy, and if you do kill an enemy with the Golden Gun, you get some of that super back. So if you don't think you're gonna one-shot the champion at the very beginning with the Golden Gun, you could also use Wait a little bit, get a bit of damage into him, maybe stun him again, and just blow him away with the Golden Gun, just to kind of guarantee that you get some of that energy back. Because if you keep getting that energy back after every kill, you could spam it just a lot more often. So you try to keep that in mind so you can spam Celestials even more. Now let's quickly go through the mods, and this is what we have for the helmet. We have a heavy ammo finder, a harmonic siphon, and a special ammo finder. This is just so we can stay nice and healthy with our ammo, so we always have ammo for our steel hunt, and so we always have ammo for an LMG. For our gauntlets, we have a harmonic loader, so we can reload our weapons faster, heavy-handed, so we can make orbs whenever we get a kill with our melee, and fastball, so we can throw our grenade a little bit farther. For the chest piece, you gotta make sure that you have some of those resistances. I have a concussive dampener, plus a void resistance, since it's void threat. Now for the boots, we have recuperation, some healing whenever we pick up an orb. We have absolution, which is gonna give us some ability energy to all our abilities whenever we pick up an orb. And lastly, we have a scavenger, so we can keep our sniper and our machine gun topped up. And lastly, for the cloak, we have powerful attraction, bomber, and a reaper mod. Reaper is so we can make some more orbs of light. Powerful attraction is so we can pick up those orbs of light with a class ability. And lastly, bomber is so we can get our grenade back whenever we use that class ability. And on the artifact, radiant orbs, transference, and shield crush is the mods that you want to go with. They're gonna give you constant radiant whenever you pick up orbs, and also they're gonna give you just a bit of extra ability regen, even more on top of all the other ability regen stuff that we have, just so we can spam abilities even more. And that's it, that's the whole build. I told you everything. There's gonna be a dim link in the description below, so you guys can just click it and use the build if you want. But now let me tell you a little bit about it. The main thing that I want to tell you about playing with this build is to spam your supers. You're gonna get the supers back really fast. the Still Hunt one, your normal golden gun. Just use them whenever you see a big enemy, whenever you see a champion. Do not be afraid to use your super, because you're gonna get it back really quickly, especially the Still Hunt one. Every time you see a big enemy, make sure that they get the golden gun. That's really how you get the most out of your build. The first couple of runs in the GM, I was holding on to my Still Hunt super a little more than I probably should have. But after a couple of runs, I was just popping it on every big enemy I saw. Some of those wipers at the end are not even like yellow bars, and I would still just pop my Still Hunt and just take one of them out immediately as they would spawn. And if you somehow convince someone to run Divinity for you in this strike, it gets even easier because you could spam it even more. You don't even have to worry about hitting crits anymore, because all you gotta hit is the Divinity bubble. It'll charge up your Still Hunt so you can super even more. So if somebody asks for some loadout suggestions, don't mind telling them the Divinity is pretty good on the strike. Which is actually not even a lie, because Divinity is pretty much good in any GM, and especially on one with overloads, which is this one. But even if you don't convince somebody to run Divinity, and somehow you can land a precision hit, except when you pop the golden gun mode, you're still going to be able to build up your Still Hunt just with all the orbs that are going to be made. That you make, that your teammates make, and in PvE, tons of orbs are being made nowadays. So getting a super with your Still Hunt should not be a problem at all. But anyways, that's going to be it for today, boys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Check out the build, give it a try in the GMs. And if you end up trying the build, make sure you come back to this video and tell me what you think about it in the comments. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.